Hello and welcome to this. Well, it's going to be. I was just wanted to do a video really, talking about some of my favourite games in 2012 and some of the games that I didn't enjoy of 2012. So it's going to be a quick video on that. It's nothing flashy, but yeah, I would love to have done it much better, but with videos and stuff. But I really just it's something I just thought of last minute and thought I'd quickly do. The majority of these games are going to be games that I enjoyed, because there weren't a lot of games this year that I haven't enjoyed. So I'm going to start off with the very first game that I think I bought this year, which was Resident Evil Revelations on 3DS. At first I was a bit unsure about this game. I didn't know if it'd be something I'd enjoy. I don't know why, but it was. What I really loved about this is, while I was sceptical and unsure if I wanted to buy it, it actually turned out to be a game that I thoroughly enjoyed. I liked how it brought that fear aspect back. You were frightened to see what was coming around the corner, like old times. I think that was really one of the best things about it. And I think also it did have a. I mean, it had a good story. I wouldn't say it was a great story. It got a bit confusing in parts, and there was a lot of things recycled. I mean, one of the bosses towards the end of the game felt very similar to one of the bosses in Resident Evil 5. I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't played it. So yeah, but I think and the raid mode was really good to play. You could play it online and off, which I thought was fantastic. I thought it was a really great addition. Overall, I think it was a very good game. Very enjoyable, and it brought the fear aspect which we've come to love about Resident Evil back. The next game for me was SSX. I've been a big fan of SSX since Tricky, and I know this wasn't a lot of people's cup of tea, this version of SSX, but what I really liked about it was how addictive it still was, and I really enjoyed the deadly descents part of it, where you had to do certain challenges against deadly things like ice, and I remember there was one with an avalanche and things like that, and I really thought that. And there was like one with the heat, I think, as well. You had to like keep in certain parts as you fail, and I think that was a really great aspect of it. And I think the ability to compete against your friends as well, I think that's where the game really excelled. But sort of now, where all my friends have moved on to it, it's kind of not some challenging for me. I mean, so that's why I've kind of gone off it a little bit, but there's still challenges to be done as well. So that's that really. That's why I really enjoyed SSX. The next game is Final Fantasy 13-2. This was a game I was very unsure of at first. I liked the look of it from what I've seen of the trailers, but I didn't like the idea of the time travel aspect thing at first. I was a bit unsure about it, but in actual fact it paid off and turned out to be something really great in the end. And the only thing that for me that really let the game down was the ending, and towards the end of the story it got really confusing. But I think for the gameplay wise, it was miles better than Final Fantasy 13. I think what really didn't help Final Fantasy 13 was that you couldn't sort of go off and do your own thing, whereas with that you could to a certain extent. But I had a lot of fun playing that till the end, which really kind of ruined it. The next game is Max Payne 3. Now, this was a game that I didn't have any things about buying. I just had a good feeling it was going to be good, and I was really glad I did buy it, because I have been a fan of Max Payne since I played the first one in 2003. I know it came out in 2001, but I didn't play it till 2003. I think what was great is it was just a really good, fun action shooter. Now, a lot of games try to change themselves over the years, and I don't believe that. There obviously were some changes, but I think a lot of the gameplay, what we come to know Max Payne, was there. I mean, they added a few things like the cover system, but other than that, I think it was a really solid, good game. I know there was a lot of problems with the cutscenes that annoyed people, and I can sympathise with that because it was a little bit annoying. But I kind of got used to them in the end, and it didn't really bother me. The online play has a few issues. I haven't played it for a while now, so I'm not sure if they're still in there. But other than that, I think it was a really fantastic game. The next game is going to be Sleeping Dogs. This came out in August, but I didn't get it till late September, early October. I can't quite remember. I didn't like it wasn't I didn't like the idea of it. I just thought it'd be like another Grand Theft Auto clone, as they call them, and I wasn't really all that interested in it. But I seen it cheap, and I couldn't make up my mind what to do, whether to buy it or not. And I thought, well, seeing as it was like half the price it normally is, I'll give it a go. And I'm glad I did in the end, because it was a really enjoyable game. It's hard to say what really separates it from other games in its category, but I think the combat system is very good. I think the option to choose whether to be a good cop or a bad cop is, a good thing to include as well. But really, it's kind of funny that Activision dropped the project because it was called True Crime Hong Kong, and they sold it to Square Enix, if I'm correct. And to be honest, to really finish it up, Activision really should be kicking themselves. The next game is going to be Borderlands 2. When I seen the first game, I actually didn't think it'd be anything special. I just thought it'd be one of those games you pick up really on the cheap. And how wrong I was when I managed to play the first one, because it actually turned out to be a really enjoyable game, and I knew I had to play the second one. And the second one, because I haven't really fully sat and played all of Borderlands 1, so I don't know too much about it, but I don't really know a lot about the differences. But I think what was really great about it is it was a fun first-person shooter where you could team up with your friends, and there's lots of things to do on it, quest-wise, and the humour as well is something that's really, really enjoyable. I mean, you've got some really entertaining characters like Claptrap. Another one of my favourite characters in the game is Tiny Tina. She's just mental, quite funny, but I know a lot of people find her quite annoying as well. But no, if you're looking for a really good first-person shooter, because I'm not someone who's a big fan of first-person shooters. I do play them now and then, but I don't really go mad for them. And then Borderlands really is something you want to look at. The next game I'm going to choose is Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed. The reason I really enjoyed this is because while it has have that old school karting game feel, I haven't played a lot of karting games. Really, the only ones I sort of know are Crash Team Racing. Really, I didn't really experience Mario Kart till the Wii, but I sort of know what people enjoyed about those. But I think it's great that it has the old school feeling of the karting games, but it sort of appeals to a younger generation as well, which is really great. I just love the way that how the tracks are so dynamic and the way they change. Like 1 minute you're racing on land, then it changes to water, and you've got to quickly adapt to that, and then back in the air. And I think it's just a great blend of that. I think that's what just really made it one of the best karting game. Well, the best karting game of the year, in my opinion. I mean, Little Big Planet Karting I've only just got. It's not terrible, but it's nothing really exciting about it. It is a bit tedious after a while, unfortunately. And F1 All Stars I haven't really sort of played. It looked fun, but I'm not a massive F1 fan, so I didn't really bother with it. Next up is going to be the worst games, but before we get into that, there's a few games I can add to the list because I haven't really experienced them. I've only just got them, so it wouldn't be fair to put them on the worst or best without actually fully playing them and experiencing them, so I'm not going to bother for now. The first game that I really didn't like in 2012 was Operation Raccoon City. Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City even. The gameplay in some ways was really broken with some enemies. The gameplay just didn't feel right. It was like shooting stone, and especially with the hunters, and some of the enemies just didn't really react all that well to attacks. And I just think that really let the game down. I mean, I know you're used to that hunters when taking them on. It's like you can usually take them down with a few shots, but I think what made up for that is that you had 4 people, so I can see why they try and take that into consideration. But even with that said, the hunters did not react to shots or anything. It just didn't feel right at all there for me. And the online play was really broken because it was easily exploitable, and it just really wasn't an enjoyable game in the end. So that's really the main reasons why I didn't like it. I did actually hear that the DLC, because I never bothered with it after playing it, was actually better than the actual retail game. So that's quite that's never good to hear, really. The next game, well, this is the last game I didn't. Well, there's only two I could really think of. The next game is going to be Street Fighter Cross Tekken, if I've said that right. My problem with this really was it didn't feel that great a game. I think when you completed arcade mode, for me it wasn't worth going back to. It was pretty boring. So after that I really didn't bother with it. I know there was some problems with the online part as well. Mainly, I think it was a character that if you used his block or something, the game froze up every time. And obviously, blocking is quite a needed part of the game. It's quite an important part, so that was something that obviously didn't help. And I think what really annoyed people just before the game was even released was the locked stuff on the disc that they were trying to use as DLC, so that you had to buy it when it was locked on the disc. Now that's really going to annoy people from the get-go, and I think Capcom actually did admit to that in the end. I could be wrong, but I think they did. So, you know, I know a lot of people trying to use the argument that I'm glad it's on there because it means I haven't got bigger download files, which, yeah, okay, I get that, but surely when you buy a disc, you should get its full content within reason, obviously. Like, you don't have access to distribute it and copy it, that kind of thing. But, yeah, no, I don't think that helped. So that's really it for this video. I'm going to try and do another video. In case it doesn't work, I'd just like to thank everybody who's watched my videos, subscribed to my channel and liked my videos also. And I'd just like to thank you for that. It's been really helpful this year.